I'm Carrie Campbell. I'm the business growth and lead coaching guru with the Dog Gurus. I'm here with Susan Briggs, who is the co-founder of the Dog Gurus. And if you are not familiar with the Dog Gurus, we are a business consulting and pet or staff training business. Sorry. And we are here to see pet businesses launch, grow, and profit. If you're out there and you have any questions for us, feel free to drop those in the comments while we're chatting. But today we are going to talk about some systems that will help you spend more time out of your business rather than in your business. Susan, I'm going to let you start with that.
Yeah, I love to talk about this and glad to have people tuning in because when it gets down to it, we think about systems a lot with like fast food franchises and having SOPs. But what we found is if we look at our pet businesses the same way, you can pick up a lot of efficiencies, but you need to really think about your business and all the different systems that operate within them. Especially if you as the owner want to step away, you've got to really focus on having great systems. Plus, it definitely helps when you go to exit. And so we've defined that there's really 7 core systems that really exist in any business, not just a pet business. And so we'll talk about them, but I'll list them all first. And then, Carrie, I thought we could just chat about what maybe some of the systems are, what people should focus on, and how spending some time in that system will save you time and money. And this was something I did when I had Urban Tales. And I probably spent a good 1.5 to 2 years doing this because I didn't have anybody that had laid it out. It was just one of those, you get started on it and it just, the project grows and grows. So hopefully with us laying some of this out, it'll shortcut it. But this is definitely not something that's a sprint project you'll get done right away unless you're already pretty far into it. So the systems we talk about is the company system, which establishes that big picture purpose and vision, your marketing to help you grow your client base, customer service so you can achieve excellent ratings and a brand reputation, staff management. We talk about that one a lot, but our focus is building a system where you can maintain a harmonious, high performing team.
I love that word.
Harmonious, I know.
Yes.
And financial, one I talk about a lot because you need to ensure that long-term health, financial health of your business. Operations, providing consistent high quality pet care, which we find most of our followers and members are probably strongest in that one. And then last but not least, this one's very important, is sales. So you're maximizing your revenues with a sales culture. And I think if you can think about your business along those 7 systems and then think about kind of the processes and subsystems within that, it can definitely help you get more efficient. So I know you like talking about that whole company side and the culture and that big picture purpose and vision. Why do you feel that's so important for businesses to have clarity on?
I think that is the foundation of every pet care business because how you define what your culture is going to be, what your mission and your values are, is going to speak to your potential clients and your existing clients as to why you do what you do. It's the why behind the heart of everything. And you can tie that back to so many aspects, even when you're doing your staff training or your marketing or the way you have a script that your salespeople or customer service people are approaching your clients. All of that can tie back to the why. Why? Because we have a vision of being the highest pet care quality facility, the cleanest facility, the highest safety rating, the one that is the go-to that every vet clinic or other dog training facility or something that is not necessarily providing the same services that you are the go-to in your area. So it's just having that clarity and that purpose and vision, I think, is really the foundation of everything that you're going to structure in your service line.
And I know a lot of us, when we were starting our businesses, you do your plan and you have that mission, and because it's a part of that executive summary in your business plan. Did you find that what you ended up with in your business changed from what you had started with?
Significantly. When I just think about who my target market was, my whole thing was going for that dual income, no children, and the dog was their child. And boy, what we ended up with was just a myriad of clients from college students that were going to school full time and working 3/4 or almost full time, retired people who had you may not even live very close by. One day a week, they came into town to do their shopping and their doctor's appointments. It was just such a variety. And I think that really spoke to them having a great relationship with their pet and seeing that part of what our value system was helping to grow that relationship with their pet.
Yeah, same with me. Ours ended up changing. And I think that's the lesson. If you haven't dusted that off in a while, it needs to become a living, breathing part of who you are. And you need to talk about it, like Carrie said, in your staff training, even in your marketing materials out to your clients, because that kind of ties everything together. Your mission, vision, purpose, those core values of how you operate your business or how you help people make decisions when you aren't there because they understand the values. And we talk about hiring for people that align with your values. You're going to get more longevity and loyalty out of them. So I agree with you. I think it's totally the foundation and something that if you've been in business a while, pull it out and see if it needs to refresh. And that are you still reflecting that? Because we grow, our organizations grow too.
I have to interject really quickly. One of our core values was integrity. And I'll never forget one day we were doing an evaluation and we had a new pet parent there and a new pet. And my manager said to them, integrity is what we do when no one is looking. And I just love that because it was everything we did from all of the behind the scenes services to what we were doing with the actual pets to how we were treating the clients. It was all done with the utmost integrity. So
Yeah. Yeah. So that's always a good exercise to do periodically for your business. And then let's talk about, let's say, how did you build that into your marketing? And what do you think opportunities are in systemizing your marketing to where you can save time and money?
ooh, that's a good question. We didn't have to do a whole lot of marketing on our sides. But I will say that everything that we did do was tied back to how our service line was structured and how that fit into our mission, vision, and values. Whether it was creating a new service that we would do because we never really did paid advertising, but when it was that guerrilla marketing and we were taking brochures to new areas, to vet clinics, and we were offering something that was new for us, we always had how it was going to benefit the dog or the pet and the pet parent. So we were trying to continually grow that bond between the pet and the pet parent. And so as much as we could tie back in that marketing piece that showed what the value was to the dog and to their relationship, the more creative and the stronger the message was to the potential clients. So
Yeah, and I think one thing we're big on annual planning at the Dog Gurus, and so I think having as part of your annual planning process an annual marketing plan is a great way to save time and money because I use that a lot when people would come in and say, "Oh, you need to buy this ad for this," or "We have this great marketing thing for you." It was really easy to go, "Send me your information, I'll look at it." But I've already got my marketing budget set. So I'd have to see if it was worth diverting funds. And so it keeps you from that impulsive saying yes when somebody's in front of you. Plus, I think social media can be part of your marketing strategy as far as raising awareness or as you talked about reinforcing what your core values are and who you are in the community. And having a plan on that and a template that's real easy to just put in how often you're going to post and about what topic. I know that's something Robin does for the Dog Gurus so that it's just plug and play and she can plan 2 or 3 months out. And so setting up templates like that for your marketing can make it easy and save money and also planning in advance, knowing what events you're going to go to or events you're going to host. Where are you spending your marketing dollars? Where do you get the most bang for your buck?
I agree. I also think that any type of video that you can produce, whether it's those short TikToks or the reels that are on Facebook now, if you're going to launch something that's a new service, or if you want to highlight a service that you're doing that this month we want to grow our revenue by 10% in this particular service, put those little short videos of what that service is. Show the dogs having fun, show the staff and the dogs engaging in whatever that service is. And that's just a way because we're so visual nowadays and how we're perceiving our marketing with videos that those short little reels will definitely be a big help as well.
And I love batching that. If I'm going to get everything out to do videos, I would batch and record both. And then you don't have to publish them all. You can schedule them in advance and have them ready. So I think that's another way that you can systemize. But videos are, if you're not doing videos, try it. It's not as scary as you think. And the more you do, the better you get at it. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So what system would you like to talk about next? And do you have any ideas on?
Well, I'm going to ask you about financial systems. That's your favorite.
It is. It is
What do you think
because
is most important? Do you think that you're going to say all of it above, but
Mhm.
is it the budget? Is it forecasting? Is it KPIs? What do you think is if they had to choose one thing because they don't know their numbers that well, where would you have them get started?
Okay. I would have them get started with KPIs because I think that's easier, especially for people that maybe are a little intimidated. I would say, what is your overall goal for your business this year? And then select a key performance indicator that would tell you how you're tracking towards that. And it might be data off your financial statement. It might not. It might be data from your point of sale system. But track that regularly, either daily, weekly, monthly, whatever makes sense for your goal. And if you feel like you're not going to make it, you have time to make adjustments. So that would be my number one. The close second is definitely budget, because I think until you know what your plan is and where you're headed, it's hard to make changes and grow revenue, or especially profitability, and to really know ahead of time where you're going to end up. And I think we've seen with the clients we work with, when they really get in and work through the budgeting process, that's when they really understand how the numbers impact from their business impact them, and they really get a big understanding. But that's a big project, and so that wouldn't be the first one, but I think it's most important. So I have two in there. I'm tricky that way.
So if we slide over to staff management, would you say that the key as far as knowing your payroll as a percent of revenue is a way to look at, or is a good KPI to look at for staff management?
I definitely think so, because in our industry, our staffing costs are the biggest. We know a lot of people are over 50% and some 60 or 70. And it's the reason that concerns us is because we know that only leaves 30% to pay for everything else. And that's really hard in especially a period of inflation, rising costs. And if you're a brick and mortar where you've got costs and everything you need to do. So managing that and knowing that KPI of your payroll percentage is a great way to improve your profitability. And it doesn't mean that you provide less care quality for the pets, or that you necessarily cut back on staff. One of the first things to do is to watch overtime and know how many labor hours does it take to provide care for the number of pets at different levels. And so that you're just smart with your labor hours.
I just put in there, is everyone tracking their payroll as a percent of revenue? So
Yeah.
if you don't know, just take what your total payroll is and divide it by your gross revenue, and it'll give you that percentage.
And I think one of the biggest things that can save you money in your business is reducing your turnover. And I know we've worked with our members a lot. There's a lot of moving pieces in your staff management system. It goes from everything from recruiting to hiring, your onboarding, your training, your feedback systems, and all of that. It's one of those things we said, you got to have it, all those pieces have to be in place to really create that harmonious, high performing team. And I think that's where we sometimes don't focus on all the pieces. And so one weak link in that staff management system can result in turnover. And turnover, that means you're training people, so you're losing productivity from your existing staff member as well as the new person. We estimate, and I think it's probably on the low end, that each person you have to replace costs you $4,000 a year. I think that's the minimum it costs you. And so really spending time focusing on how can we be better at recruiting, hiring, as we said, aligning with your vision, and then retaining the people we have is a great place to spend your time on your business so that you save time later for everybody and frustration along with money.
We never used to advertise or use something
Mhm.
like paid ads on Indeed for employees until COVID. And then that whole kind of dynamic shift that's happened in the workforce, we
Yeah.
went from having zero in a recruiting budget line to almost $1,000 a month because it was just costing so much. And the competitive nature of having a smaller pool of potential workers to pull from, there was just a lot of competition for those workers. Yeah, it's amazing how all the pieces and parts of that system can be costly, and especially when there's some breakdown, like you said, in the chain of all of those pieces that you end up losing or having turnover, a cost per person that you have to replace. So
Yeah. And I didn't even mention like recognition and rewards. I mean, there's just so many different pieces of that, just your staff management system. And so getting focused on that. And I think right now, gosh, it's hard. You got to start with the culture foundation. You need to make money. So the financial is important, and marketing if you're trying to grow. But staff management, I think, is where there's a lot of opportunity to make improvements in your business that you'll see for long term right away. Well, not really right away. It takes a little bit of time, but it pays back.
and also, I think if you can grow people from within and show them a career path, that
Yeah.
will definitely reduce your turnover if people start to see that there is a career in the pet field or the pet care field.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we don't focus on letting people know that. And I think I encourage you to do that as part of your recruiting and interviewing process. I think all of us have had employees that came to work for us and they may have said, I had no idea I could have a career in pet care outside of veterinarian.
Yeah.
And so you need to educate. And we talk about marketing now to get employees, just like you market to get clients, using a lot of those same tools and avenues. Having a careers page on the website to where you tell people what opportunities are there and how they can get in touch with you, and to always be recruiting.
Another place to have a great video.
There you go.
Career page on your website showing how fun it is to work there.
Yeah.
Because I think the other thing too is that some employees, when they come in for the interview process, just want to know they're going to be safe, that you have they want to know that they're going to be trained. They want to know that there's some measurement for them and how they're going to achieve those expectations that you put in place, that safety is a big concern, and that there's that team camaraderie, that there's part of that as a connectedness that brings them all together. And
Yeah.
snacks always help.
It's not, yeah. Our industry, we like the food. Yeah, absolutely. What comes to mind with the customer service system?
Boy, I think for the basics is how you get new clients. What are you doing when you're talking to prospective clients? Is it how it's on your website? Is it how the phones are being answered, the script that your reservation people are working from? And then how are your clients being treated when you're actually interacting with them in person? And there's just a lot of training that can go into that. But certainly it is something that has to be mirrored from the top down, because I think that ties back to culture too. So how the owners, the leadership team are treating each other, how that's being translated down to staff, and then how we're doing that same with our clients, that same interaction. You want to, I think, if you have a memory for names, addressing people by name, setting that expectation is great, that there's always quick or timely interactions, that they're greeted promptly when they arrive if it's an in-person interaction. If not, maybe you just have a parameter set that the phone only rings 3 times max and it's answered. And do you have a phone system that people have a menu where they hear, if you're a new client, press 1, if you're an existing client, press 2? Some people just get turned off by that automation. So then what happens when they get the live person, and what is that first interaction, setting that expectation as well, so that people who are hearing through a phone or alternate communication than being in person are getting that same service.
You mean just because I hire someone doesn't mean they're going to automatically do that for me, Carrie?
Absolutely not. And this is the truth. There is a level of social anxiety that's out there now. I think part of that probably was in existence, and then probably the pandemic made it worse when people were isolated at home. So, getting people to be comfortable talking to strangers, if you will, and maybe that they haven't met those clients can be really difficult. So,
And
not
so
every
how can they get more comfortable? Our favorite thing to do.
training.
Role play.
Yes, a real role play.
Role play is part of your training.
It is part of the training. Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We love to role play.
yep. And that's same too on your leadership side. If they're doing staff management and they have to maybe discuss something that's not a friendly topic, having the managers do some role play before that is a great way for them to experience that what it's going to be like to have those uncomfortable or uneasy conversations. So,
Absolutely. So we're doing pretty good. We've got a few minutes left. There's two systems we haven't talked about yet. Let's go to sales.
okay.
Why do we need to focus on sales?
That's what's going to drive your bottom line.
Make more money.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to drive your revenue. It's going to actually, in some cases, it's going to help determine what area from your feedback that you may need a new revenue stream. You may need to start offering a new service because you're getting a lot of requests for it. So sometimes just listening to what your existing clients are asking for is a way to create something new to drive new revenue. Obviously, you want to sell with integrity because you want to make good on the promises that you make. And then you want to create a sales system and have that in place so that your employees, whether they are your front desk staff, whether there's somebody who's on the phone, are they upselling for different packages that you may have? If it's a lodging package that's an add-on, what are they doing that can create the whole experience during that stay for the pet to be as pleasurable for the pet, but also to put the pet parent's mind at ease?
I like all that. So again, there's a lot of little pieces that come in here. And I think you had talked earlier about some scripts and things that could help make this easier. And again, practice through
Okay.
role play.
Absolutely. And scripts are one of those things where I think it's really important that everything that you do, you have to show the value before you get to the price point. Because you may get somebody on the phone and all they want is, are you $20 a day? Nope. Okay, click.
Yeah.
But you want to explain that no, we're not that low rate, but the value of what your dog is going to get or your cat is going to get while they're here with us, whether it's extended stays or if it's for daycare. The value is there. This is how we provide it. This is why our staff are trained. We know canine body language. We pet CPR and first aid. We're trained that we understand dogs. We know what symptoms or signs to see. We could redirect behaviors. All of that has value and will help to sell the price point that you have set for your services.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think spending time here, I think it's something, again, you think I've hired someone, they surely know how to sell, but it's tying in what you said, that foundation, the why that builds the value, and then has people say yes on the price point. So it's, I remember they say, taking friendly control of the conversation. Um, yeah.
And that's something too. I've worked with a lot of people who have gotten into hiring somebody who is specifically a reservation specialist. It really is a sales role. It's hard to take someone who just wants to work in direct care with the animals and try and make them a salesperson because that's probably not their forte. So if you really do advertise or recruit for somebody who is good at sales, that's what's going to get you better sales turnover, better revenue, and ultimately affect your bottom line.
Yeah, absolutely. And then operations. I think this is where we think a lot about having systems and SOPs is
Yep.
in our operations. But how can you maybe save time and money looking at those systems?
Oh, one of the things I think, again, going back to video, it used to be, I think most facilities, if they had SOPs in place, they were all written. So it's putting something that's just like a binder and it's very visual that, oh, I don't want to sit there and read through, rifle through all of it. Maybe you have individual SOPs just posted around your facility, but having short videos on how to do things seems to capture people's attention faster. Maybe you're creating short videos for all these SOPs and putting them in some sort of online file structure so that people can say, oh, I need to put together some solution for mopping. Here's a video on that. Or I need to figure out how to do laundry on this particular type of product. There's an app, or not an app for that, but there's a video for that. There probably is an app to do all of that, but
I think in video you can show what does it mean. I used to get frustrated with cleaning and you'd see hairballs flowing down the hallway. And to me, that's not clean, a hairball. And so you can show what clean looks like and that you can do the before and after and be very specific on what clean means to you, because I learned real quickly telling people to go clean things didn't mean they cleaned the way I wanted. I wasn't clear on my expectations. And so video helps a lot on clarity of expectations because you can show it in shorter time than you can describe it in words.
absolutely.
And why is consistency, do you think, so important in our operations?
For one thing, it's gonna provide safety, because if everyone is doing things exactly the way you've set your expectations, then everything from laundry, that there's no reaction because somebody has used too much laundry detergent that could affect a dog and their skin, to that the dog isn't going to have contact with chemicals in their enclosure because the cleaning solution wasn't done properly. Or just in tracking, if you're dosing medication and somebody isn't logging that, or they're not doing the correct dosage of medication, all of that provides safety and integrity in the bottom line for the care and the care quality for the pets.
Yeah. And then that saves you money if you're not wasting
Right.
things
It's
too.
not
So,
the same product.
man, 30 minutes flies by when we're talking systems.
Did you want to mention Growth Intensive?
I do, because we actually created a program called Growth Intensive to help you do this. All the content is organized by these 7 systems. And we open this program up just twice a year to new members. So if you want help, that checklist of what I should be doing in all these systems, Growth Intensive will do that for you. And it's a program that you join for a year. And that's because, like I said, it took me a year and a half to really go through this at my business. We've got Growth Intensive down to 6 steps, but it's pretty intense. So we give you twice that long. So 2 months per step to kind of through it. And I know, Carrie, you've been working a lot with our members on the content and accountability. And how's it going for them? Kind of when they start really focusing on the business, what kind of feedback are you getting from our current members?
I think one of the biggest things that I hear is the fact that even though there are 6 modules or the 7 systems that we're putting in place, they're not sequential. I would say some of the foundation work you want to get done first, but if somebody has that in place, they don't have to go through a module that they may already have in place just so that the next module would open up. They can bounce through each of the different areas so that they're able to pull the information they need. And on the accountability standpoint, that's great from my perspective, that I'm able to direct them to a specific area. You need to go look at this particular flyer or this, download this information, and that's what's going to help you with this particular issue right now.
Okay. Awesome. So you would love to have some new folks join you.
Oh, absolutely. And I put the link in there. And I'm also going to put a link to our Facebook group that we have, that's Grow Your Pet Care Business. That is free to join, and it's a great community. There's a lot of people who are in there. So if you have questions, it's a great community to get answers from peers. And we just have 2 rules. You have to be nice and you can't sell stuff. So that's the 2 rules. So you're welcome to join with those 2 parameters set.
Yeah, easy peasy. So hopefully everybody stuck with us and found that this information was helpful. I know it can seem like it's overwhelming and it's like, where do I start? I would start, like you said, on the foundation side, just go through that. But it's just looking at your business and it's stepping out of the forest so you can see it instead of just the trees that are surrounding you, and looking at it from the different systems. And if you can, again, put the procedures in place to get that consistency and clarity of your expectations, I think it's going to really help you save time and money in your business and a lot of frustration. I mean, that's what motivated me, is I was frustrated. And then I realized you really haven't laid out what you expect. So whose fault was that?
Right? Isn't that they say one finger pointing and there's three pointing back at you?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I learned. But I did realize it was time well spent and made a big difference in my enjoyment of my business as well as the bottom line. So again, marathon, not a sprint.
Right. Definitely. All right. Like you said, 30 minutes goes by fast. So thanks for joining us, everyone. And if you have any questions, join that Facebook group and we can answer your questions there. And yeah, have a great week.
All right. See you next time.
Bye.